Writing. The sound of metal folding against metal was loud enough to silence the entire school pickup line. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then the driver of the silver SUV in front of me stepped out, furious, ready to unleash every word she had been holding back all afternoon. But when she turned around and saw my face, the anger disappeared. Her hands fell to her sides. Her eyes widened as if she had just seen a ghost. I knew that look because I had once been the reason she smiled like that. Her name was Claire, and 6 years earlier, she had been my fiancée. If you believe that some people deserve a second chance, and that kindness can find its way back into even the most broken stories, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Because sometimes the person you think you lost forever is standing only a few feet away, waiting for life to give both of you another chance. My name is Daniel, and I never imagined I would meet Claire again in a school parking lot with my bumper pressed against the back of her car. I had been having one of those days where everything seemed determined to go wrong. I was late leaving work, my 7-year-old daughter Emma was waiting at school, and my mind was somewhere between an unpaid bill, a difficult meeting, and the memory of my mother's hospital appointment the following morning. I was exhausted, distracted, and moving through life like someone trying to keep too many plates from falling. Then traffic stopped suddenly. I braked, but not quickly enough. My car bumped into the SUV ahead of me. I closed my eyes and whispered a prayer before stepping outside. Claire was standing there. For a moment, neither of us spoke. 6 years vanished in an instant, and I remembered a rainy evening, a ring in my pocket, and the promise I had once planned to make to her. I remembered the little apartment we had shared, the Sunday breakfasts, the future we had planned, and the night everything fell apart. Claire had believed I was leaving her for someone else. She had found messages on my phone from a woman named Rebecca and assumed the worst. What she never knew was that Rebecca had been helping me arrange emergency treatment for my mother. I had been keeping the situation secret because my mother had begged me not to let Claire sacrifice her own future for our family's problems. When Claire confronted me, I was angry, frightened, and too proud to explain everything. She left that night with her engagement ring on the table. I never went after her. That was my greatest regret. Now she stood in front of me, older, calmer, but carrying the same sadness in her eyes. Before either of us could say anything meaningful, the school bell rang. Children began rushing through the gates, and then a little girl ran toward Claire. "Mom!" I froze. Claire looked at the girl, then back at me. Her daughter was about Emma's age. I wondered if she was married. I wondered if she had built the life we once dreamed about. I had no right to ask. Then Emma came running toward me and hugged my waist. She looked at Claire, then at her daughter, and smiled shyly. Two children who knew nothing about the history between their parents stood between us, innocent and completely unaware that they had just brought 2 unfinished chapters face to face. The insurance exchange should have taken 10 minutes. Instead, Claire and I stood beside our cars while the afternoon sun faded behind the school building. She finally told me she had moved back to town 3 months earlier. Her daughter, Lily, had started at the school because Claire wanted her closer to her aging father. I told her about Emma. I told her I had become a single father after my wife passed away 2 years earlier. Claire's expression softened. She did not ask many questions. She simply said she was sorry. Those 2 words broke something inside me. Not because they were extraordinary, but because they were sincere. Over the next few weeks, we kept seeing each other at pickup. At first, we exchanged nothing more than polite greetings. Then came small conversations. Emma and Lily became friends, which made avoiding each other impossible. They began asking to play together after school, and somehow Claire and I found ourselves sitting on the same park bench while our daughters chased butterflies across the grass. One afternoon, Emma fell and scraped her knee. Claire immediately ran toward her. I followed. We knelt beside her together, and for one strange second, it felt like the family we had once imagined. Then Claire pulled away. She told me she had spent years believing I had chosen someone else. I finally told her the truth about Rebecca, my mother's illness, and the fear that had made me shut everyone out. Claire listened without interrupting. Then she told me something I had never expected. She had never stopped wondering whether she had made the right decision. But she had built a life around believing I had forgotten her. The hardest part was realizing that neither of us had truly forgotten. We had simply allowed pride and pain to speak louder than love. A month later, my mother passed away peacefully. At the funeral, I saw Claire standing near the back with Lily. She had come quietly, without expecting anything. When I saw her, I understood something I should have understood years earlier. Sometimes people don't return because they want to restart the past. Sometimes they return because they want to help you survive the present. Claire stayed until everyone left. We talked beneath the old oak tree outside the cemetery. There were no dramatic promises, no perfect ending, and no pretending that 6 years of hurt could disappear overnight. She simply told me she was willing to forgive me if I was willing to forgive myself. Months passed. Emma and Lily became inseparable friends. Claire and I slowly rebuilt something different from what we had before. We learned to speak instead of assuming. We learned to listen instead of defending ourselves. We learned that second chances aren't about pretending nothing happened. They're about deciding that what happened doesn't have to control everything that comes next. One rainy afternoon, nearly a year after the accident, I pulled into the school pickup line. Claire parked beside me. We looked at each other and laughed about the first day we met again. The accident had damaged a bumper. But somehow, it had repaired two hearts that had been carrying the same unanswered question for 6 years. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who believes that forgiveness can change lives, and subscribe so these stories can continue reaching people who need a little hope. And before the story ends, I have one special request. Comment, "Second chances are worth fighting for," if you believe that some endings are actually new beginnings. Claire and I never tried to recreate the life we lost. We built something new instead. Something slower, more honest, and more grateful. The last time I looked at her across the school parking lot, I realized that sometimes life doesn't bring people back when you expect it to. It brings them back when you're finally ready to understand why you lost them in the first place. And sometimes, the biggest accident of your life can become the beginning of your greatest second chance. Writing. The woman who walked into my small medical clinic looked like she belonged on the cover of a magazine, not in a waiting room with cracked chairs and a broken ceiling fan. She wore an expensive coat, carried a leather bag that probably cost more than my car, and had 2 security guards waiting outside. She walked straight toward my desk, placed a folder in front of me, and calmly announced that she needed me to marry her by Friday. I thought she was joking. Then I saw the fear in her eyes. If you believe that kindness matters more than money, that people deserve second chances, and that sometimes the most unexpected person can change a life, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. This story begins with a strange request, but it ends with a lesson I will never forget. My name is Adam, and at 32, I owned a tiny neighborhood clinic that barely stayed open. I wasn't rich. Most days, I treated patients who paid late, paid partially, or sometimes couldn't pay at all. My father had taught me that medicine was never supposed to be about how much money someone had. It was about whether they needed help. That philosophy had nearly ruined me financially. Then Amelia walked through my door. She was the only daughter of Victor Harrington, a billionaire whose company owned hotels, hospitals, and technology firms across several countries. Amelia had inherited wealth before she had even learned how to manage it. Yet she didn't look spoiled. She looked terrified. She explained that her grandfather's will contained a condition. Her inheritance would be transferred into her control only if she married before her 25th birthday. The deadline was Friday. I thought it was ridiculous. Then she explained the real